Hello, everyone. I'm Lisa Ling, executive producer and host of This Is Life on CNN. And I have been so eager to have this conversation, this really important conversation about homelessness. We all know it is a national crisis that has just worsened amid the coronavirus pandemic, but one that has already existed. The pandemic has only brought to the forefront longstanding inequities that for too long have disproportionately impacted people of color, and in particular, women of color and families in our city and across the country. In New York City alone, the pandemic has caused housing insecurity to escalate, with many families and single adults facing the potential of eviction as overdue rent bills have piled up. Moratoria preventing landlords from immediately collecting rent arrears. And as the pandemic has lessened its grip and New York City continues to relax restrictions and reopen, those bills are coming due. And in a city that has long struggled to create significant dents in homelessness, the questions then surface again and again. How do you erase longstanding inequities and how do you keep people in their homes? I am joined today by Áine Duggan, CEO of the Partnership for the Homeless, a nonprofit that has been on the forefront for nearly 2 decades in addressing issues of homelessness. And during the pandemic, stepped up to prevent more than 1,000 people from losing their homes. But once the pandemic ends, the crisis of homelessness isn't going away. So Áine, thank you so much for joining me today. I want to start off by asking you to just explain what the Partnership for the Homeless is. Tell us what its goal is and how the organization is planning to accomplish those goals.
Well, first, thank you for the conversation, Lisa. It's really nice to have this kind of time to sort of explain what's happening with homelessness in the city and in the country, and go beyond the usual soundbite. And today, most of our work is on prevention. It's about preventing people from experiencing homelessness sort of in the first place. And the vast majority of people that we work with are families. I think really what's at the core of and what drives the work for us is something very simple. We believe homelessness is solvable. And ironically enough, that's a fairly unique belief in today's America, because I think what's happened is homelessness has been with us so long that we sort of think as a society that it's intractable, that we'll always have some degree of homelessness. And I think for us as an organization, we believe that in order to solve it, you have to believe that it's solvable. And there's sort of 4 ways that we come at the prevention piece. One is sort of very basic. It's at the core of the work, making sure that people have access to financial assistance if they're in rent arrears. We do mediation with landlords to help families be able to navigate if they're in arrears and stay in their homes. And then also making sure they have access to legal assistance if they need it. The second way is working on stabilizing individuals and families through mental health services and emotional well-being services and other health supports. And then the third way is making sure that we can break the intergenerational cycle of homelessness by focusing on children and education. And then the fourth way, well, I would say that this conversation gets at the heart of it. It's really about changing the public narrative. And what we mean by that is engaging the public so that they can begin to see what homelessness is all about, sort of walking them, if you will, around the corner to look in at the problem from a different angle so that they can see the full scope of what homelessness is in the city and across the country.